David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, the breaking news as we come on the air, the U.S. and Israeli attack on Iran. And late today, President Trump confirming Iran's supreme leader is dead. The U.S. and Israel launching a wide-scale assault in broad daylight. Airstrikes targeting Tehran, including the supreme leader's compound and multiple other sites. From Iran tonight, reports of a girls' school being hit. Tonight, President Trump claiming, quote, a lot of the leadership is largely gone. Telling our Rachel Scott we believe the supreme leader is dead and that much of their leaders are gone. Not only from that one site, but from two other sites the U.S. attacked. The president telling ABC News, quote, much of their important areas, militarily and otherwise, have been absolutely destroyed. Smoke and flames rising from the Capitol tonight. Iranian state TV reporting more than 200 killed, hundreds wounded. And President Trump's stark warning to the American people once the attack was underway.
The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war.
The president tonight now calling on the Iranian people to seize control of their government. Iran retaliating against the U.S., Israel, and multiple Arab nations. A missile hitting near the U.S. Navy base in Bahrain. What we're now learning about the size of the operation following a massive U.S. military buildup across the region. The U.S. forces involved, and what is the mission's end goal? And when Rachel asked the president about who leads Iran next, he said, I don't want to explain. We have a very beautiful plan. Ian Panel live in the region tonight. Martha Raddatz live in Washington. And Rachel Scott live right here on her conversation with the president. Also, President Trump vowing the massive campaign will devastate Iran's military and nuclear program. Tonight, back in the U.S., lawmakers from both parties questioning the U.S. military attack without congressional approval. Mary Roos live at the White House. Across the U.S. tonight, police on heightened alert. The concerns about possible retaliatory attacks. Police deployed to churches, synagogues, and train stations. Aaron Katersky and Pierre Thomas both standing by tonight. And Iran's warning tonight to oil tankers sailing through the Strait of Hormuz. Roughly 20% of the world's oil passing through. What this could mean for oil and gas prices in the U.S. So tonight here, how long will this operation last? What the president told ABC News about that. A special edition of World News Tonight begins now.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening on this Saturday night. We do begin tonight with the U.S.-Israeli attack on Iran. A short time ago, President Trump confirming Iran's supreme leader is dead, calling him one of the most evil people in history. President Trump urging the Iranian people to take control over their government now. The images coming in for hours now, the U.S. and Israel launching a joint assault on at least 9 cities in Iran. The U.S. launching fighter jets, missiles, and drones after a massive U.S. military buildup across the region. Smoke and flames across Tehran tonight, airstrikes hitting multiple targets, including the supreme leader's compound. Iran also claiming a girls' school was hit, the U.S. investigating those claims tonight. The 86-year-old Ayatollah Ali Khamenei served as supreme leader since 1989, the leader of Iran for 35 years. In Iran tonight, the Supreme National Security Council warning the, quote, shameless Americans will regret their actions. Iran retaliating against the U.S., Israel, and multiple Arab nations. An Iranian missile hitting near the U.S. Navy base in Bahrain. An Iranian drone striking a hotel in Dubai, a large fire burning at the entrance. The United Arab Emirates reporting 1 person was killed by falling debris. In Israel at this hour, they report 1 person dead from Iranian attacks, more than 20 injured. Several Iranian missiles have been intercepted. Tonight, the White House now releasing photos showing President Trump and his team monitoring the operation at Mar-a-Lago. The president late today saying, quote, a lot of the leadership is largely gone, and, quote, much of their important areas militarily and otherwise have been absolutely destroyed. Our Rachel Scott was on the phone with the president as he was meeting with his generals, and she asked who leads Iran next. How the president answered. We have team coverage tonight. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Panel leading us off from the region tonight.
Tonight, the stunning announcement from President Trump. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead, believed to have been killed in that massive U.S. and Israeli attack on Iran today. President Trump posting late today, Khamenei, one of the most evil people in history, is dead. This is not only justice for the people of Iran, but for all great Americans and those people from many countries throughout the world that have been killed or mutilated by Khamenei and his gang of bloodthirsty thugs. Satellite imagery showing extensive damage to the Supreme Leader's compound, buildings levelled, smoke billowing from the scene. Video posted online showing celebrations in Iran after news Khamenei had been killed. The 86-year-old cleric had served as Iran's supreme leader since 1989. President Trump telling our Rachel Scott he believes many of Iran's top leaders were also killed. Israel saying just hours ago that it would continue to target the regime until it's been eliminated. In the early morning hours today, President Trump releasing this 8-minute pre-recorded message laying out his case for war.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people.
Waves of explosions rocking Tehran for hours. Screams of horror in the street, cars and buildings in flames. The White House releasing images of the president monitoring the strikes in real time. A source telling ABC News the joint US-Israeli strike was meticulously planned for months and is expected to last days. The brazen daylight assault, dubbed Operation Epic Fury, beginning at 9:45 a.m. local time. US and Israeli fighter jets involved, as Navy warships fired Tomahawk cruise missiles. At least 9 cities in Iran targeted. The Pentagon launching new US one-way drones for the first time in combat. Striking command and control facilities of Iran's Revolutionary Guard, defense systems, missile launchers and naval bases. Iran's retaliation swift and sweeping. Israeli air defense intercepting a barrage of Iranian missiles over Tel Aviv. Some still getting through. We were preparing to go on air when another attack came in.
The air raid siren has just gone off once again. It's been going all day. Already we're seeing the signs of what looks like air defense going up into the sky to try and intercept incoming Iranian missiles. All day long, they haven't stopped coming.
Iran also targeting at least 4 US bases in the region. Dramatic verified videos circulating online showing those strikes, from Jordan to this US naval base in Bahrain, where 3,200 Americans are stationed. Not far from there, a drone blasting this residential building in Bahrain. Harrowing videos showing the moment that drone came crashing in. People inside taking cover. Iran targeting Dubai too, this luxury hotel up in flames. And in Qatar, people running for their lives. Our Marcus Moore in Doha.
You can see the air defense interceptors going into the air in those bright flashes of orange, and you can also hear the loud booms. This is what we've been hearing in Doha all day today.
The president with a sobering warning to the American people, US lives may be lost.
The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future.
Tonight, Iran saying more than 1,000 people were killed or wounded. Iranian state media claiming an airstrike on a girls' school in the southern city of Minab left dozens dead. The US now investigating, working to verify that report, saying it would never deliberately attack civilians. President Trump tonight making a direct appeal to the Iranian people. Seize this moment and topple the regime.
To the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations.
So let's get right to Ian Panel with us live tonight from Tel Aviv. Ian, you and I were on the air earlier when it was confirmed the Supreme Leader was dead. You were in an air raid bunker earlier, now back on the roof I see tonight. President Trump obviously confirming Iran's Supreme Leader killed in this U.S.-Israeli attack. But to be clear tonight, the U.S. saying this operation is ongoing and so far no word of any U.S. casualties.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think for Iran, its future plunged into uncertainty. As you say, the U.S. says no U.S. service members have been injured, but this assault is still underway tonight, with Iran continuing to retaliate and officials warning this war could last for days. David.
Ian Panel leading us off from the region tonight. Ian, thank you for your reporting all day long here. Our Rachel Scott was on the phone with President Trump late today while he was with the generals reviewing the evidence from the Supreme Leader's compound. So let's bring in Rachel tonight because, Rachel, I know you asked the president at the time on that phone call if he believed the Supreme Leader was dead. He said, I believe so, but can't confirm to you in this moment. But that confirmation came just a short time later.
It did, David. I was on the phone with the president. He told me that he was meeting with his military generals, that they were poring over the evidence. And so I asked if that intelligence showed that the Supreme Leader was, in fact, dead. The president told me he believed that he was, but he wanted to see a little bit more of the intelligence. And obviously he did get that because then moments later he did inform the American people that Iran's Supreme Leader had been killed in these strikes. On the phone, the president also telling me that much of Iran's leadership is dead also, and that much of their important areas, militarily and otherwise, have been absolutely destroyed, David.
I poured through the transcript of your call. One of the questions you asked is something our viewers at home certainly want to know, what the world wants to know, which is what comes next in Iran, who leads Iran next. You asked him that question. How did he answer that?
It was my next question to the president, David, and he told me that he has a, quote, very beautiful plan for what comes next in Iran. When I asked him who exactly takes over now, he told me, I don't want to explain, adding, you haven't seen us miss yet. The president has been insisting for weeks now that Iran's nuclear program was completely obliterated by Operation Midnight Hammer back in June. So I asked the president, why now? Why move forward with this operation? Was there an imminent threat to the United States? The president told me he believes there was, in fact, a threat, David.
All right. Rachel Scott with us here tonight. Rachel, thank you. Meantime, tonight, President Trump signaling that this mission is not over. The Supreme Leader, of course, is dead. His compound now destroyed. And tonight, Martha Raddatz is here on how this played out. This surprise daytime attack that appeared to catch the Supreme Leader and senior leaders off guard.
Tonight, with Iran's Supreme Leader now dead, his compound in ruins, one of the main goals of the joint U.S.-Israeli mission has been met. The Israelis have long tracked the movements of the Ayatollah, despite what officials say are his efforts to evade them. But the Ayatollah and other senior leaders were caught off guard, given the attack was during the day, an unprecedented move. But this U.S.-Israeli mission is far from over, and the risks remain high.
Even though the Supreme Leader and much of the senior leadership is dead, and the U.S. and Israel control the skies over Iran, there are thousands of missiles that can range all the way to Israel, and so the risk remains high.
The U.S. has 35,000 forces in the region, 2 massive aircraft carriers, guided missile destroyers, and dozens of warplanes at the ready. A massive offensive force, but also a target for Iranian missiles, especially those bases throughout the region. Tonight, that threat from President Trump to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard to lay down their weapons or face certain death remains, and that challenge to the Iranian people to fight for change, something that has gotten tens of thousands of people killed over the years. President Trump saying hopefully the IRGC and police will peacefully merge with the Iranian patriots and work together as a unit to bring back the country to the greatness it deserves.
And Martha Raddatz with us here tonight as well. Martha, you and I have both reported from inside Iran and have seen firsthand the way of life there under the Supreme Leader and the effects of these U.S.-led economic sanctions for so many years.
David, you're so right. We have witnessed the suffering, the repression, the fear, but we've also seen such courage in those fighting against the regime. So as President Trump said, this could be an opportunity for greater change, but not without facing significant danger. David?
Martha Raddatz with us here on this major news night. Martha, thank you. In Washington, meanwhile, lawmakers from both parties with serious questions tonight over this U.S.-Israeli attack without congressional approval. Here's Mary Bruce.
Tonight, those images of President Trump monitoring the airstrikes from Mar-a-Lago before addressing the American people.
We're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future. And it is a noble mission.
Just 4 days ago, the president told the American people the U.S. had already wiped out Iran's nuclear program.
The United States military obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program.
But the president now insists, without providing evidence, that Iran was swiftly rebuilding and that negotiations led by his son-in-law Jared Kushner and Mideast envoy Steve Witkoff had failed.
They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore.
Trump did not seek congressional authorization for this campaign. Still, top Republicans in Congress giving their seal of approval.
God bless the president for executing this mission, because this is not just changing for today. This is world changing for years to come.
But other Republicans voicing concerns. Congressman Thomas Massey of Kentucky saying this is not America first. The Constitution requires a vote, and your representative needs to be on record as opposing or supporting this war. Democrats sounding the alarm.
As an Iraq War veteran, someone that had to go into some very dangerous situations, saw way too many of my friends die in the war. It really is scary how quickly we just lurched to war without any plans.
The top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, Mark Warner, warning the American people have seen this playbook before. Claims of urgency, misrepresented intelligence, and military action that pulls the United States into regime change and prolonged, costly nation building. The president owes the country clear answers. What is the objective? And how does this make Americans safer? As the president huddled in Florida with top advisors, including Rubio, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, and Joint Chiefs Chairman General Dan Kane. Watching from Washington, Vice President J.D. Vance and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, who in the past both strongly opposed more foreign wars. In October, Vance saying this:
"The American people are done with American troops dying in unnecessary foreign conflicts."
But tonight, the U.S. has attacked Iran. The president announcing the supreme leader is dead and the operation continues, but not saying whether it will take days or weeks.
And David, the administration is supposed to brief Congress this coming week, but the president has yet to fully make the case for war directly to the American people. And David, we were together just a few days ago for the State of the Union, the president not mentioning possible strikes on Iran until an hour and 20 minutes into those remarks.
Mary Bruce live at the White House tonight. Mary, thank you. Across the U.S. at this hour, police on heightened alert, the concerns over any potential retaliation, any possible lone wolf attacks. Here's our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky, tonight.
With that days-long military operation against Iran underway, tonight police departments across this country, from New York to Los Angeles, are ramping up, increasing their security presence and patrols at synagogues, mosques, and other locations significant to Jewish, Israeli, and Iranian communities. While authorities say there is no specific or known plot, Iran's allies and proxies are already calling for retaliation. Law enforcement officials say they also fear the strikes on Iran could inspire an act of violence here.
So the resources that we're deploying, again, this is to deter any would-be bad actor, whether it's a lone wolf type of person who's inspired by what's happening overseas and wants to take action here, or something that's more concerted or planned.
And tonight, police are also monitoring protests over the strikes. Hundreds of demonstrators marching through Times Square in New York and around the White House. There is particular concern tonight, David, about high-profile public gatherings, whether that's here at a synagogue for the Jewish holiday of Purim on Monday or St. Patrick's Day parades that step off this month. David?
Really important points. Aaron Katursky, thank you. Tonight, the FBI and Secret Service also on high alert. Increased security surrounding the president in Mar-a-Lago and the White House and potential infrastructure targets across the country. So let's get right to Pierre Thomas on that tonight. Pierre?
David, the Secret Service is increasing security of President Trump, Vice President Vance, and all the living former presidents. And the FBI has put all counterterrorism and all counterintelligence teams on high alert. Sources tell me the FBI is planning to step up surveillance of suspected Iranian operatives living here in the U.S., and U.S. defense officials have told National Guard troops stationed here in Washington to maintain a high state of vigilance. Why the concern? U.S. officials say they have identified a number of recent Iran-inspired plots, including an alleged plan to kill President Trump, as well as others that have targeted journalists and others living here opposing the regime. David, it's a very dangerous environment.
Our Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas tonight. Pierre, thank you. And tonight, Iran is now warning ships to stay out of the Strait of Hormuz. At least 4 large oil tankers have turned around as a precaution. Roughly 20% of the world's oil passes through that strait. Gas Buddy predicting tonight oil prices could jump by up to 10% in the next couple of weeks. When we come back, the other news tonight, we're tracking the system bringing snow in the Northeast from the Great Lakes all the way to the East Coast, several inches in some places. We'll time it out for your Sunday and beyond. Also tonight, the FAA reducing flights at one of America's busiest airports. What's behind this decision in a moment here? And the insurance company saying millions of car owners in this country may soon be getting a $100 check. Are you one of them? In a moment here. Tonight here, we're tracking a new system bringing more snow. The system moving from the Great Lakes to the Northeast tomorrow. Several inches expected in the Midwest. Smaller amounts we're told here on the East Coast. Less than 2 inches, they say. We'll try to keep them to it. Single-digit wind chills return to the Northeast on Monday. A different scene, meantime, in the West tonight. An early season heat wave. Phoenix looking at multiple days above 90 degrees. Tonight, the FAA is asking airlines to reduce flights at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport beginning this summer. Regulators say flight schedules could exceed the airport's capacity, stressing the safety systems. They want to reduce departures, reduce the number of flights by hundreds. They also want to prevent delays at one of the nation's busiest airports. When we come back on this Saturday night, the insurance company saying millions of car owners here in this country may soon be getting a $100 check. Are you one of them? We'll explain here in a moment. To the index, millions of drivers may soon be getting a $100 check. State Farm Insurance says it had a much better year than expected, announcing plans to share a $5 billion dividend with customers paid out in $100 checks this summer. When we come back, late word coming in after the U.S. attack on Iran in a moment. Tonight, the military operation against Iran still underway. President Trump confirming the supreme leader is dead, monitoring the operation with his team, and now calling on Iranians to take over their government. I'm David Muir in New York. Good night.
David Muir, the most trusted anchor in America, the most watched anchor in America. Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir the #1 newscast in America.